Have you ever felt that the world beneath your feet might be more alive than the one you see above? The air around you hums with quiet tension as you stare at the swirling images of ancient maps, edges curling like old parchment seas drawn in deep ink continents, warped by imagination and faith. Somewhere beyond the known, below the crushing ice of the poles, cartographers once sketched strange openings, gateways to another world. The letters on the page seem to breathe as you trace them with your finger. Agartha, a word that feels like a prayer and a dare at the same time. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me, where are you watching from, and what time is it where you are? It's always twilight somewhere, and tonight, it's your turn to descend into the unknown. The whisper begins as a rumor, the sort of tale sailors traded when the sea was endless, and the ice had no master. You follow it back to the earliest maps of the Arctic and Antarctic, those drawn long before either pole was reached. The Piri Reis map of 1513, for instance, sketched an oddly accurate outline of Antarctica centuries before anyone supposedly saw it. Historians still argue whether it was luck-lost knowledge or something stranger that guided that ink. You imagine the explorers who first looked upon those charts, shivering not from cold, but from awe. The world they thought was not just round, it was layered like a secret onion of creation. The poles were not dead wastelands, but doors sealed under storms. The whisper spread through monasteries and taverns alike. There is land beneath the ice, green and untouched. Some said it was Eden reborn. Others called it Agartha, the inner kingdom, where gods rest and forgotten civilizations hum with eternal light. You feel the pull of that word again. It sits in your chest like gravity turned inward. Even in the 19th century, scientists such as John C. Simys Judor believed in literal polar openings. In 1818, he wrote to governments around the world proposing an expedition to enter them. He even designed flags for the voyage, one bearing a hollow sphere pierced at both ends. It sounds absurd now, yet his conviction shook polite society. Imagine walking into a royal lecture hall and declaring, "The earth is open at the poles and paradise lies within." You'd be laughed out, but then again, people once laughed at the idea of flight too. Somewhere in your mind you picture that first moment, a ship cutting through endless white wind, screaming like a living thing. The crew watches as the compass begins to fail, needles spinning without mercy. The sky glows oddly green. The aurora pulses brighter as though reacting to their presence. The captain grips the railing, feeling the world tilt, not metaphorically, but literally, as if the horizon itself is bending inward. A gust of wind blows across your imagination, carrying with it the taste of frost and the metallic tang of ozone. You almost hear voices in that wind, ancient, distant, half a hymn and half a warning. The whisper grows stronger. The first mainstream historical clue, oddly enough, comes from the 17th century. Edmund Halley. The same Halley who gave his name to the comet suggested in 1692 that the Earth might be hollow, composed of concentric spheres with luminous atmospheres between them. He wasn't joking. He proposed it to explain mysterious compass deviations, claiming the inner shells could house life. Historians still argue whether he meant it literally or as a clever metaphor for magnetic theory, but the idea stuck like ice on glass. By the time 18th century explorers began chasing the poles, the myth had matured. Agartha was no longer just a whisper, it had become a destination. Book and pamphlets spoke of an entrance guarded by blizzards and magnetic storms, a place where the sky folded upon itself. Theosophists in the 19th century would later add that Agartha was inhabited by enlightened beings, guardians of Earth's spiritual evolution. You imagine them now silent and tall, standing beneath mountains of crystal, watching as humanity fumbles through history. You walk further into the idea, and reality begins to blur. Your steps echo in soft snow, yet there's no sound above you, only the thudding rhythm of your own curiosity. You imagine what it would feel like to stand at the edge of such an opening, cold air, rushing upward, smelling of wildflowers and warm earth. Perhaps that's what Admiral Byrd felt later, though we'll get to him soon. For now, you pause at the edge of the myth's beginning. Beneath you lies not rock or magma, but mystery itself. Somewhere far below, a light flickers. Maybe it's the sun refracted through ice. Maybe it's something else, something that sees you seeing it. The modern world dismisses these whispers as the offspring of fantasy, but you can't help smiling. Humanity has always filled the blanks of the map with wonder. When old cartographers wrote, "Here be dragons," maybe they weren't warning sailors, they were inviting dreamers. And every dreamer sooner or later goes looking for Agartha. One scholar once joked, if there truly is a paradise inside the planet, it must be laughing at us from beneath our feet. You chuckle quietly. The joke lands because it feels true. The Earth has always hidden its best secrets, underground fossils, gold, and perhaps civilizations. Your mind drifts back to that glowing map again. The ink blurs slightly as though moisture rises from the paper itself. You blink. The air feels warmer now, carrying the faint scent of pine and moss. For an instant, you're no longer sure whether you're imagining the story or stepping into it. Somewhere in the dark, below the Arctic crust, something ancient stirs a memory. A song, or maybe the soft murmur of a city, waiting for you to find it. You take one more breath deeper this time, and the whisper becomes a voice. It says only this: "Welcome home." The whisper has become a hum now, low and steady, vibrating in your bones, as though the earth itself is speaking through the soles of your feet. You take another step forward, though. Forward has begun to lose meaning, and descend deeper into the thought that maybe, just maybe, the planet you've always known is only half the story. The Hollow Earth Hypothesis. It sounds like a headline from a forgotten age of wonder and unfiltered imagination. Yet once it was printed in sober scientific journals and discussed by men with powdered wigs and brass telescopes. You picture them gentlemen in long coats, hands ink-stained from drawing circles within circles, each convinced that beneath our crust lies not molten fire, but another world entirely. The idea found early champions. In 1692, Edmund Halley, yes, the Comet Man, again proposed that Earth was composed of multiple shells, each with its own atmosphere and rotation. He theorized that the aurora borealis might be caused by luminous gases escaping from inner layers through openings at the poles. Historians still argue whether Halley truly believed this or if it was a poetic explanation for magnetic anomalies, but the seed was planted. As centuries rolled on, that seed sprouted into wild forests of speculation. In 1818, an American war hero and eccentric named Captain John Cleves Sims, Jr. declared before Congress, "The Earth is hollow and habitable within, containing a number of concentric spheres." He went further, "I pledge my life to explore this truth." His bold circular diagrams became famous, depicting vast inner continents bathed in constant light. Sims wanted an expedition ship's men funding. He even wrote to every sovereign power he could find, promising that whoever sponsored him would be remembered as the monarch who opened the world's second Eden. No one took him seriously, of course. Well, almost no one. His followers formed Simmies societies, and for a while, Hollow Earth fever swept through drawing rooms and dime novels alike. People dreamed of inner oceans, inverted skies, and vast caverns where entire civilizations might thrive. You imagine the debate, scholars pounding tables, skeptics scoffing, idealists sketching imaginary tunnels through granite. The air thick with candle smoke and conviction. A few cups of tea, a few brandies, and suddenly the impossible seems almost reasonable. The quirky twist, Simmi's son actually tried to make the expedition happen. He petitioned the US government, got as far as the Navy's planning desk, and might have gone had politics and funding not frozen the idea. It's said that when he died, people placed a hollow wooden sphere atop his grave, symbolizing his unshaken belief that the world was more open than anyone dared admit. The hum beneath your feet deepens as you remember another man, Cyrus Teed, a 19th century alchemist and physician who flipped the entire theory inside out, literally. He insisted humanity lived inside the hollow earth, not on its surface. The stars, he said, were reflections on the inner shell. Sunlight, merely electrical discharges from the world's core. He founded a community called Koreshan Unity in Florida, where followers tried to prove it with homemade instruments. It didn't work, but it did earn them a footnote in history and a few chuckles from later generations. You smile because even amid scientific folly, there's something endearing about the human urge to dig. Every generation tries to peel back one more layer of mystery. Some dig with shovels, others with equations. The joke, of course, is that maybe both are necessary. By the mid-1800s, the hollow earth hypothesis began to crack under the pressure of modern geology. Seismic readings showed solid rock. Volcanoes proved a molten core. The scientific establishment sighed in relief, filing the theory under romantic curiosities. But the myth refused to die. It evolved instead, adapting to new eras. Theosophists, mystics, and occult explorers began to reframe the hollow earth not as physical geography, but as spiritual topology, a reflection of inner consciousness. Agartha, they said, was a higher frequency realm, accessible only to minds prepared for enlightenment. You picture this reinterpretation unfolding like the slow blooming of a hidden flower. Suddenly, hollow doesn't mean empty, it means containing. A living, breathing sanctuary beneath reality's crust. Maybe that's why the idea endures. Still, for every mystic whisper, there's a scientist rolling his eyes. One modern geologist quipped, "If Earth were hollow, the moon's tides would have torn it apart long ago." Another countered, "And yet, have you ever been to the core?" You can almost hear the laughter between them, but beneath it a note of unease. After all, most of our planet remains unexplored, its deep caves, its oceanic trenches, even its magnetic anomalies. For all our data, there's still mystery underfoot. The hum becomes a pulse, faint but steady. You imagine walking along a snow-covered ridge, ski-bruised with aurora light. Your compass trembles, and you feel the pull, not north or south, but inward. Somewhere far below, the imagined layers of Halley and Simmis and Teed blur together, concentric worlds within worlds, each more radiant than the last. One fringe story claims that early miners in Siberia once broke into a tunnel that seemed to lead downward forever. The air grew warmer, the stones lighter, until they heard a low, rhythmic sound like machinery or distant thunder. Terrified, they sealed the passage. No one ever found it again. Historians still argue whether that account was an exaggeration, a translation error, or a myth born from claustrophobic echoes. Yet even false stories serve a purpose. They keep curiosity alive. You pause to catch your breath. The hum quiets. For a moment, all is still until you realize that silence itself is another kind of sound. Perhaps this is what Halley felt when he imagined his luminous inner atmospheres, not emptiness but resonance. A frequency you can't quite hear but can definitely feel. You chuckle softly. If the world's hollow, you think it must be where all my missing socks go. Humor breaks the tension, and the unseen presence below you seems almost amused. Maybe it enjoys being the punchline. Maybe that's how myths survive, by laughing along. The snow in your mind's landscape begins to fall more thickly now. Each flake carries memory. Halley's bold equations, Simmis's hollow sphere, Teed's inverted paradise. Together they drift downward, forming a new layer over the old. You realize that every time someone dismisses Agartha, another quietly dreams it back into existence. Because belief, like gravity, has depth. And as the last whisper of the hollow earth fades, you sense that this descent is far from over. There are still journals to read, flights to retrace suns to discover beneath the crust. You keep walking, not forward, not downward, but inward toward a secret that refuses to stay buried. The hum returns lighter now, almost melodic. It sounds like welcome music echoing through layers of history ready to lead you to the next revelation. The air around you sharpens, thinner, brighter, like the edge of a new page. You hear the low, mechanical growl of propellers cutting through frozen wind. And for a moment, you are there. February 1947, flying over the endless whiteness of the Arctic. The name on the logbook reads, Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd, the most celebrated polar explorer of his age. His plane glides toward a horizon that never seems to end, and below the world folds in on itself like paper curling under heat. The story of Byrd's secret flight has been told and retold so many times that separating history from legend is like trying to separate snowflakes after they've fallen. What we know for certain is this: Byrd was a decorated American naval officer, a man of precision and discipline. He led multiple polar expeditions, logged hundreds of flight hours over the Arctic and Antarctic, and received the Medal of Honor. His official reports speak of treacherous weather resource shortages and near-death experiences. But what draws you now isn't what's in those reports, it's what's missing. In whispered corners of conspiracy and myth, there exists another document. Byrd's secret diary, supposedly recovered years after his death, filled with words that read like confession and revelation. Historians still argue whether the diary is authentic, a forgery, or a creative hoax. But in the world you're walking through now, it doesn't matter. What matters is the voice inside it, a voice describing an impossible place. You can almost hear it as you drift closer. We have penetrated into that mystery land beyond the pole, a land that extends past the Great Barrier. The air is warm, the light is golden. I see green meadows and a city shining with rainbow hues. You stop breathing for a second. Green meadows. At the North Pole. The mind rebels. And yet in the quiet between disbelief and wonder, something stirs. The alleged diary describes a glowing inner land, Agartha itself. Byrd claims his plane was seized not by storm or gravity, but by invisible force. He wrote of machines unlike any he had ever seen, circular, silent, effortlessly guiding him to a city of light. There he supposedly met beings of immense height and radiance, their eyes gentle but commanding. They spoke in perfect English and told him humanity was steering toward destruction through nuclear arrogance. They called themselves the protectors of the inner world. You let the image settle. Somewhere deep in your imagination, you see Byrd standing before them, his flight suit still damp from melting frost, trying to take notes while his hands shake. One being gestures toward a glowing sphere hovering in midair, showing flashes of cities burning and oceans rising. Byrd writes that they warned him, then released him with this message. Your world must be reminded that peace comes not through arms, but understanding. A pause. Then the log closes with the chilling line, the outer world is not yet ready. You step back, mentally grounding yourself. The historian in you raises an eyebrow. No credible record of such an encounter exists in naval archives. Byrd's real flight logs describe weather experiments, magnetic readings, and standard reconnaissance. Yet even in his official 1947 report, he mentions a vast, unexplored land beyond the pole, adding fuel to the fire. Whether it was poetic exaggeration or a slip of truth, no one can say. And so the myth spread like frost across glass. Newspapers in the 1950s began hinting at government cover-ups, secret treaties, hidden entrances at both poles. Fringe writers like Raymond Bernard published The Hollow Earth 1964, claiming Byrd had flown into Agartha and met its rulers. One quirky side detail, Bernard insisted these inner beings used vibrational craft that ran on the same principle as the aurora borealis. He also recommended vegetarian diets and meditation to align one's frequency with theirs. A man of broad interests, clearly. You can't help but smile. Humanity's ability to stretch facts into parables is both absurd and beautiful. Perhaps the Byrd legend survived because it spoke to something deeper. The yearning for guidance, the wish that someone somewhere wiser and kinder is watching over us from beneath the skin of the earth. And yet part of you wonders, what if even a fragment of it was true? The Arctic sky around you flickers. The wind carries the faint scent of ozone and spring rain impossibly out of place. The snow below seems to melt into soft green moss. You blink and for a moment you swear you see it. A valley glowing with inner sunlight. Golden rivers winding between silver spires. Then it's gone, replaced by endless white again. Historians still argue whether Byrd's post-war writings were edited, misinterpreted, or entirely fabricated. Some say his inner land was simply the mirage effect caused by polar temperature inversions, where distant landscapes appear to float in the air. Others whisper that Operation High Jump. His massive 1946-47 Antarctic mission wasn't just about training or science, but about something they found there. One fringe theory even claims Byrd's fleet encountered flying discs emerging from under the ice. Official reports mention no such thing, of course, but conspiracy thrives best where silence lives longest. You exhale slowly. The snowflakes falling through your imagination no longer feel cold. They glow faintly like embers. You think of Byrd, that stoic man of data and duty, flying into a storm that perhaps wasn't a storm at all. He returned from that mission a changed man, quieter, more withdrawn. When he died in 1957, his personal journals were sealed by his family for years. When they surfaced, some pages were missing, and the legend, like all good myths, grew stronger in the absence of proof. You imagine meeting him now, offering a simple question. Did you see it? He might smile, eyes distant, and reply, "What do you think I saw?" You chuckle softly, realizing that's the perfect answer. After all, every myth survives not because it's proven, but because it invites the listener to keep imagining. One modern pilot once told a reporter that while flying near the Arctic magnetic pole, his compass spun wildly and the horizon shimmered like glass over fire. When asked what it meant, he said, "Maybe it's the edge of the known world, or maybe it's just beautiful." You like that answer too. Somewhere between science and story, the truth hides like a bird flying in fog, visible only by the flutter of its wings. And maybe that's all Agartha ever was, a flutter of possibility seen through the eyes of a man who dared to look beyond the ice. You hear the echo of propellers fading now, softer, slower, until only the wind remains. The whisper returns gentle this time, like a memory trying to comfort you. It says nothing about proof or evidence. Only this: keep flying. The air grows warmer now, heavy with the scent of unseen flowers and minerals like sunlight refracted through crystal. You blink against the brightness, realizing it doesn't come from above, but from somewhere within the earth itself. The ceiling of this imagined world glows softly, not with flame or fusion, but with something purer. You've reached the heart of the legend, the hidden sun within. Every culture has whispered of an inner light. In the oldest Sanskrit texts, Surya is called the sun of both worlds, the visible and the hidden. Ancient Chinese chronicles spoke of a second dawn beneath the mountains, and Inuit tales describe a land beneath the ice where the sun never sets. You wonder if these were metaphors or memories handed down from a time when humans remembered more than they were supposed to. The Hollow Earth believers of the 18th and 19th centuries took these whispers literally. They argued that the planet's core wasn't molten but luminous, a miniature sun that illuminated vast inner landscapes. Captain Sims had written of a mild perpetual light emanating from the center, and later authors like William Reed and Marshall Gardner expanded it into full cosmology. Gardner's 1913 book, A Journey to the Earth's Interior, even included diagrams of the glowing orb suspended at the heart of Agartha. Historians still argue whether Gardner was an imaginative mystic or a misguided engineer, but his conviction burned bright enough to outshine ridicule. You look up, and there it is suspended in the air like a living pearl, the inner sun. It isn't blinding, but soothing. Its rays bend gently across the curved sky, illuminating forests that seem to grow upside down along the vaulted horizon. Birds, or what look like birds, spiral through the air, their wings gleaming like polished bronze. Rivers reflect the golden light winding toward cities built from translucent stone. The scene feels impossible, and yet intimately familiar, like a half-remembered dream. Science, of course, shakes its head at such visions. Seismic readings show that Earth's interior grows hotter and denser with depth. The core modern geophysicists say is a sphere of iron and nickel under immense pressure, its temperature rivaling the surface of the sun. There is no hollow, and certainly no second star inside, they assure us. But somewhere a quiet voice in you whispers, "Then why does it feel so real?" You smile wryly. Maybe that's the point. Myths like Agartha aren't maps, they're mirrors. They show us what we long to find: light in the darkness, order in the depths. A fringe tidbit floats through your mind, one of those deliciously improbable stories that refuses to die. In the 70s, a Soviet drilling project called the Kola Super Deep Borehole became the deepest man-made hole in history, reaching over 12 kilometers into the crust. Officially, they found only hot rock and mineral gas. But rumors passed quietly among late-night radio shows claimed that scientists lowered a microphone and recorded faint human-like screams. Some dubbed it the sounds of hell. You laugh softly at the absurdity, yet you can't deny the eerie poetry of it. The closer we dig toward truth, the louder our fears tend to shout. You look again at the hidden sun, and it seems to pulse with slow rhythm, as if breathing. You imagine how early mystics might have described it. The heart of the world, the breath of God turned inward. To them, this inner light wasn't just a physical flame, it was consciousness itself. Theosophists like Helena Blavatsky and later René Guénon wrote that the inner sun symbolizes divine wisdom eternally radiating from the world's core into the hearts of humanity. Agartha in that light isn't a place, it's a state of being. And yet, your senses disagree. Everything here feels tangible. The grass bends under your touch. The warmth on your skin isn't metaphor, it's real, soft, alive. Maybe that's why believers in Agartha cling to the vision, because it offers a synthesis of the physical and the spiritual. A universe where enlightenment is not found above, but below. You recall a passage from a Buddhist sutra that described an invisible world of radiant beings beneath Mount Meru, whose light sustains the earth from within. Historians still argue whether this was allegory or geography. The parallels to Agartha are uncanny. It's as though humanity keeps retelling the same dream in different languages: Hindu Patala Norse, Svartalfheima Christian Sheol, each a reflection of something sacred buried deep. You take a few careful steps across a bridge of glassy stone. Beneath you flows a river of liquid amber, faintly luminescent. You feel no fear, only awe. The warmth is steady, wrapping around you like a living embrace. You realize that if the sun above gives life to bodies, this one gives life to souls. A sudden thought crosses your mind, wry and small amid the grandeur. If this is inside the earth, does that make us the parasites? You laugh quietly. The sound echoes strangely, carried upward toward the curved horizon, then back again, like a whisper from yourself. You think of how many explorers have sought this light. Some like Bird through air and frost. Others like Blavatsky through meditation and trance. Always downward, always inward. Maybe the inner sun is what they were all chasing. The idea that somewhere inside the cold machinery of existence burns a steady warmth. Proof that the universe is not indifferent. Modern physicists might scoff, pointing to data and density, but even they speak of dark energy, a mysterious force filling all space, unseen yet real. Perhaps myths are just ancient names for modern mysteries. Perhaps Agartha is simply humanity's poetic way of saying, something within still shines. The light before you flickers once, as if acknowledging your thought. You feel gratitude, strange, unprovoked gratitude, for being allowed to see it, even in imagination. Then slowly the brightness dims. Shadows lengthen not with menace, but with invitation. There's still more to see, the air seems to whisper. The light won't vanish, it will follow you. You take one last look at the inner sun before turning away. Its glow remains behind your eyelids, imprinting golden patterns that pulse with each heartbeat. Somewhere above, beyond rock and distance, another sun still shines, but for the first time it feels secondary, a reflection of this deeper light. And as you walk toward the horizon that curves upward instead of down, you realize something quietly revolutionary. Perhaps illumination has always come from within. You feel the warmth fade behind you as the air shifts again. Denser, cooler, threaded with distant hums, like crystal wind chimes. The path slopes gently downward, the stone beneath your feet, smooth as if carved by hands that understood harmony better than gravity. Ahead, the darkness glows faintly blue. You squint, expecting caves, but instead you see skylines. They rise from the ground like symphonies made visible, towers of quartz, arches of jade, spires of gold dust suspended in translucent stone. Light streams from the walls themselves, diffused and soft, painting the air in hues of pearl and amber. The city feels alive, breathing through patterns of resonance. You have arrived at the cities of eternal light. No human city ever looked like this. There are no sharp corners, no pollution, no noise beyond the hum of energy flowing like invisible water through conduits of crystal. You feel the warmth not from sun or fire, but from vibration, the pulse of the planet itself. Everything here, even the air, seems tuned to a single soothing frequency. You take a few tentative steps forward. The surface beneath your feet yields slightly, neither stone nor soil. It's something in between, like walking on the skin of the world. Every footfall releases a faint musical note. You laugh softly. A floor that sings, you whisper. Finally, a home for musicians who never stop practicing. The sound ripples outward, echoed by the architecture around you, as if the city is amused. In myths of Agartha, this place is sometimes called Telos, sometimes Shonsha, sometimes just the inner capital. Early theosophists described it as the seat of an enlightened civilization older than Atlantis or Lemuria. Its inhabitants, tall, serene, radiant, were said to be the descendants of those who fled the great cataclysms of prehistory. Here they built sanctuaries of knowledge and peace, waiting for the surface world to mature. Historians still argue whether these stories were symbolic lessons on spiritual evolution or literal records of lost civilizations, but the imagination insists on taking them seriously. You pass beneath an archway inscribed with symbols that shift when you're not looking. They look vaguely Sanskrit, partly runic and entirely alive. Beyond it lies a vast courtyard bathed in white gold light. Gardens of luminous flora stretch outward plants that seem to hum softly, each leaf reflecting the glow of the inner sun like living mirrors. The air carries scents you can't name, part lavender, part electricity. In the distance, figures move gracefully through the haze, tall, robed with skin that seems to absorb and emit light simultaneously. They turn to you not in surprise, but acknowledgement, as if they've been expecting you. No one speaks, yet you understand. You are welcome here. Mainstream science scoffs at the idea of such subterranean civilizations, yet archaeology offers intriguing fragments that refuse to fit the accepted puzzle. Ancient tunnels under Cappadocia in Turkey. Derinkuyu Kaymakli descend deep enough to house thousands. Historians still argue whether they were built for protection or something more. Derinkuyu alone could shelter 20,000 people, complete with ventilation shafts and water wells remarkably sophisticated for structures said to predate formal engineering. A whisper of Agartha seems to linger there, disguised as stone and history. A quirky tidbit surfaces in your mind during the 1960s. A French spelunker named Michel Siffre conducted an experiment living underground for 2 months to study circadian rhythm. He reported strange hallucinations, soft lights, phantom voices, even sensations of being watched by something friendly. Scientists chalked it up to isolation, but you can't help smiling. Perhaps the Earth was simply saying hello. The luminous city stretches endlessly. You notice energy conduits running like veins beneath translucent walkways, pulsing rhythmically. One of the radiant beings gestures toward a structure ahead, a circular hall with a dome that shimmers like soap film. You follow, drawn by curiosity. Inside, the air vibrates softly. In the center floats a crystalline orb the size of a human heart, emitting slow pulses of light that correspond to a deep harmonic tone. You realize it's not a machine, it's a living resonance core. The being beside you places a hand on it, and the entire dome brightens. For a moment you feel every heartbeat within the city sync with your own. The sensation is overwhelming, intimate, sacred. It's as if you've been invited to share in the Earth's pulse. You step back, breathless. How does it work, you ask, though words seem almost impolite here? The being's answer isn't speech, but a wave of warmth in your chest, a transmission of understanding. Harmony is power. Dissonance is decay. You feel it rather than think it. Technology here is indistinguishable from music, from mindfulness, from love. Every structure, every frequency exists to maintain equilibrium. You think about the world above, the clamor, the arguments, the endless chase for noise. You chuckle quietly. We build cities to make money, you say half to yourself. They build them to make meaning. The being smiles faintly, a gesture that feels like forgiveness. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings, a sound so pure it makes your spine tingle. The entire city responds with a shimmering shift in color, like a living organism adjusting its rhythm. You realize this isn't a ritual, it's maintenance. The bell's tone literally rebalances the energy field of the metropolis. You wonder if that's what earthquakes really are, planetary tuning sessions gone slightly offbeat. Another memory surfaces, Tibetan monks striking bowls that resonate for minutes, their sound waves said to align human energy with the Earth's vibration. Maybe they were imitating what happens naturally down here. Historians still argue whether such harmonic healing has measurable effects, but standing here feeling your heartbeat slow to the same tempo as the walls, you don't need data. You just know. You're struck by the calm that fills this place. No clocks, no traffic, no urgency. The light never changes, eternal midday, eternal peace. And yet there's movement energy cycling through crystalline channels, beings communicating in soundless chords, knowledge passing like light refracted through glass. For a moment you feel small, not in a fearful way, but in a humbling one. You realize how young humanity truly is, still shouting across the surface, while an ancient civilization hums quietly below, content to wait. The being raises a hand again, and in the shimmer of its gesture, images unfold: mountain ranges above storm clouds, cities of concrete and steel. You see us, the surface dwellers, rushing, arguing, building, and breaking. The being's voice enters your mind, gentle as dawn. When your world learns harmony, you will hear our song. The vision fades, the city dims to a soft twilight. The hum settles into your bones like a heartbeat you never noticed before. You take one step back toward the tunnel that led you here, reluctant to leave. But you know the journey continues. This is only one chamber in a world with many hearts. As you turn away, the city whispers not in words, but in tone, a note so pure you can feel it rewriting your pulse. You think you'll remember it forever. Maybe this is what enlightenment sounds like. You follow the tone as it fades, a fading current guiding you through archways that shimmer like molten glass. Behind you, the radiant city dwindles into a distant pulse. Ahead, the corridor darkens its walls, shifting from gold to obsidian. The hum of harmony fades into silence. Here, the earth seems to hold its breath. The air is cooler now, damp with the scent of iron and moss. Your steps echo differently, harder, sharper. You realize that the perfection of the City of Light was only one face of this subterranean realm. There must also be shadow. Every symphony needs contrast, every balance a counterweight. The passage widens, suddenly revealing a vast cavern, unlike the crystalline halls before. Massive pillars rise from black water carved with faces, ancient, sorrowful, some human, others not quite. Their eyes are inset with dark stones that catch and return faint light as though watching you. A low, resonant sound vibrates through the air like distant thunder, but slower, deliberate. Then you see it, a structure suspended over a pool of molten glow, half temple, half machine. Its pillars spiral into the abyss below, supporting a circular platform of metallic stone engraved with moving sigils. Welcome to the mechanism beneath the mountains. You step closer, drawn by fascination and unease. The floor hums with energy that feels alive, like standing over a heartbeat, amplified by machinery. In the center of the platform spins a colossal wheel, thick as a fortress wall, etched with constellations that shift as it turns. The wheel moves slowly, yet the motion feels eternal, steady, older than time itself. Legend calls this the Wheel of Vril, a mythical device said to regulate the flow of the Earth's life force. In the 19th century, fringe philosophers claimed that an underground civilization, the Vrilya, harnessed a mysterious energy, capable of creation and destruction alike. Historians still argue whether the Vril society of pre-World War II Europe ever truly existed, or if it was a cautionary myth of power misunderstood. Either way, you can feel the concept breathing here, heavy and alive. A sudden spark flashes across the chamber's surface, illuminating ancient machinery integrated into the stone. Pipes, coils, crystalline conduits technology grown rather than built. You trace one with your hand, feeling a faint vibration under your skin. The hum syncs with your pulse for an instant, and you stagger. For a heartbeat, you glimpse something impossible, an inner vision of the planet's arteries, glowing lines, stretching beneath, continents pulsing with the same rhythm as this mechanism. When you blink, it's gone. The echo remains a faint pressure behind your eyes. You exhale slowly. Okay, you whisper, half-laughing note to self. Don't touch ancient planetary engines. The cavern responds with a low rumble, like a chuckle buried in bedrock. The beings who dwell here, if they still do, must be engineers of energy, caretakers of planetary systems. Perhaps not divine, but deeply attuned. You notice glyphs that resemble star maps, yet the constellations are wrong. They depict the sky as it looked tens of thousands of years ago, before the poles shifted. A clue, perhaps, to when this place was active. Mainstream science acknowledges that Earth's magnetic poles wander flipping every few 100,000 years. But no one knows what truly drives that process. You wonder if this immense device, this subterranean gyroscope, might once have stabilized those shifts, keeping climate and life in balance. It's an outrageous idea, but then again, you're already walking beneath myth itself. A quirky tidbit drifts up from memory. Nikola Tesla once claimed he could feel the Earth's resonance, describing it as a frequency of divine order. Some enthusiasts believe he tapped into the same current that powers Agartha. Historians still argue whether Tesla's obsession with resonance was scientific genius or mystical indulgence. But standing here amid machinery that hums like a cosmic tuning fork, you suspect he might have been on to something. The wheel continues its slow revolution. You lean closer. Each rotation releases a low tone, like a choir of planets singing in unison. The sound is not loud, but it fills the entire chamber, vibrating through your bones. You imagine this mechanism turning for millennia, maintaining the harmony between the inner world and the surface. Maybe earthquakes, volcanoes, even auroras are its language. The Earth's way of adjusting itself. You walk the circumference of the platform, studying the inscriptions. One symbol catches your eye, a spiral crossed by 3 rays of light. It pulses faintly when you look at it, then dims as if waiting for your understanding. A code, you murmur, or a lock. You feel the faintest pull in your chest, like the glyph is calling you closer. A sudden wind sweeps across the chamber. It shouldn't be possible this deep underground. Dust swirls into the air, and the wheel slows. From somewhere above, a hollow voice reverberates through the stone. Not speech, but tone, deep and layered. The very air trembles. You can't tell whether it's warning you or greeting you. The sound brings memories. Ancient floods, lost empires, stars falling into oceans. It feels like the Earth remembering its own past. You close your eyes and let it wash through you. The wheel resumes its steady turning, faster this time, like it recognizes you. You sense that the mechanism is more than a machine. It's a memory bank, an archive of frequencies. Every tone it emits encodes a story of cataclysm and renewal. The beings of Agartha, the caretakers, would have read these vibrations like pages of a book. You wonder if they're still listening. A narrow bridge of black metal extends from the platform toward another tunnel. You step onto it cautiously. Below you, molten light churns lazily, releasing faint sparks that drift upward like souls seeking air. The bridge hums beneath your weight, reacting to your heartbeat. Halfway across, you stop and look back. The great wheel spins steady and unending. Around it, the cavern glows with a dull red-gold light, beautiful, ominous, eternal. You realize that without this mechanism, perhaps the world above would fall out of tune completely. You whisper softly, "Don't ever stop turning." The bridge carries you into shadow once more, the hum receding into silence. Behind you lies the heart of the Earth's machinery. Ahead you can sense another vibration, not mechanical, but mental, a frequency of consciousness. You follow it deeper, unaware that the next chamber will show you something stranger, still a mirror that remembers. For now you breathe, steadying yourself. You can still feel the rhythm in your chest, the heartbeat of a world that has never truly slept. The tunnel narrows, winding like the artery of a colossal organism. The hum from the wheel fades until only your own breathing fills the dark. The air thickens, warm, damp, faintly metallic. You trail your hand along the wall and feel it pulse once faintly, as if the stone itself is alive. Then suddenly light. It doesn't come from a lamp or flame, but from reflections, thousands of them. You step into a vast chamber filled with mirrored surfaces. They stretch in every direction, walls, ceiling, even the floor, each pane reflecting endless variations of you, the path, the glow. Yet something is wrong. Your reflections don't all move the same way. Some lag behind, some turn their heads when you do not. You are in the chamber of living mirrors. For a moment you think it's an illusion, a trick of light and fatigue. But then one reflection steps forward. When you stay still, its expression slightly off, a little too calm, a little too knowing. You feel your pulse quicken. You laugh nervously. "Okay," you whisper. "I've officially stopped complaining about Mondays. This is worse." Your voice echoes, multiplied into whispers that return from every surface, like an audience softly laughing back. You take a cautious step closer to the nearest mirror. The image ripples like water. Beneath the surface, faint lights flicker, patterns, symbols, memories maybe. You reach out and touch it. The surface feels cool, fluid, then suddenly warm. 1,000 images flash in your mind. Cities rising, oceans, receding, stars falling. Then silence. When you pull your hand back, the reflection doesn't. It stands there, still touching the mirror from the other side, eyes meeting yours. Not hostile, not kind, just curious. Historians still argue whether the myth of the mirror halls of Agartha originated in Buddhist cosmology or in later theosophical writings. Some describe them as archives where souls confront echoes of their past lives. Others interpret them as allegories for self-awareness. But what if they were literal repositories of memory storing humanity's psychic residue across ages? You begin to notice the mirrors are not glass at all. They're crystalline membranes, each one humming faintly at a different pitch. Together they form a massive resonant instrument. When you move, the pitch shifts. You are both observer and participant, both player and note. The mirrored version of you tilts its head, and suddenly words form, not spoken, but thought. You are remembering forward. The phrase rattles through your skull like a whisper from inside the bones. You take a step back, dizzy. Remembering forward, you mutter, "That's not how time works." The reflection smiles faintly. Not yours. The world's. Your surroundings waver. For an instant, every mirror shows a different version of earth-lush jungles, where deserts should be glittering ice, where oceans belong, towers floating in the sky. Each image fades as quickly as it appears, like the planet's own memories flickering across dimensions. Mainstream history acknowledges that humanity's memory is fragile, eras erased by floods, fires, tectonic shifts. Yet beneath our myths, strange consistencies persist, tales of golden ages, subterranean refuges and civilizations that vanish only to reappear as legend. Maybe the Earth itself remembers, and this chamber is its mind. You walk deeper into the maze of reflections. Some mirrors show you as you are. Others show you older, younger, or dressed in unfamiliar clothing. One shows you not human at all. Light pouring from your eyes patterns across your skin. You feel no fear now, only awe. A faint sound catches your ear, a melody slow and fragile weaving between the mirrors like mist. It's the same frequency you felt in the City of Light, the same vibration from the Great Wheel. The three are connected, you realize, consciousness, energy, and memory. Agartha is not a place, but a symphony of them all. You pause before a massive wall of crystal, clear as air. The reflection inside is perfect, too perfect. It breathes when you breathe, blinks when you blink. You sense that if you step closer, something irreversible will happen. You do it anyway. The surface liquefies. You fall forward not into glass, but into light. Images flood your senses. You're no longer in the chamber, but suspended in something vast, a memory field. You see beings of light constructing the crystalline cities, shaping stone, with sound-weaving energy through song. You see the great flood tearing continents apart, survivors descending into caverns of refuge. You see time folding on itself like an origami of ages. You hear a voice calm and immense. All that is lost is stored. Then flashes of the surface world, modern cities, satellites, data centers. The same impulse continues. Humanity still trying to store itself, to make memory immortal. But where Agartha uses resonance, you use electricity. You wonder if the internet is your own crude version of these mirrors, a digital shadow of the Earth's ancient mind. The voice returns softer now. You are a reflection trying to remember the original light. You open your eyes. You are back in the chamber, lying on a floor that hums faintly beneath you. The reflections are still. Your hand trembles slightly, still tingling with warmth. You laugh quietly, breathless. So self-awareness, but make it cosmic. The echoes approve their laughter chiming like distant bells. Somewhere deep inside you understand the mirrors do not just reflect, they record emotion, thought, energy. Every visitor leaves a trace. The entire chamber is an archive of consciousness, stretching back beyond recorded history. Perhaps this is how Agartha preserves its knowledge, not in books, but in echoes of the soul. A mainstream fact intrudes in the late 20th century. Scientists discovered that quartz crystals can store vast amounts of data, potentially millions of times more than silicon. Historians still argue whether ancient civilizations could have known this, yet legends of crystal libraries persist in nearly every continent. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe the ancients simply listened better. The melody fades. One mirror near the exit flickers softly, showing a single phrase in shifting light. Seek the core, and you will see the sun again. You stand steadier now and bow slightly to your countless reflections. Thanks for the existential crisis, you say with a wry grin. The reflections bow back, perfectly synchronized this time. You turn toward the tunnel ahead. The air feels lighter, warmer, tinged with gold. Somewhere beyond, another pulse calls you deeper. You sense you're nearing the heart of something immense, where myth and mechanism converge. You take one last look at your mirrored selves and whisper, "Don't forget me." The chamber hums once, in reply low and kind, like a memory saying goodbye. Then you walk on, following the sound of the next secret waiting in the dark. The golden warmth ahead feels different this time, alive, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat you can walk toward. The tunnel widens gradually, and the glow intensifies until the walls turn translucent, then transparent. You realize you're walking inside a vein of light, deep within the Earth's body. The air vibrates faintly, every breath resonating with a quiet hum that feels like it's tuning you from the inside out. You emerge into a cavern so vast it defies description. The roof curves into infinity, rippling with bands of soft radiance. In the center of this space hovers a sphere of golden fire, too bright to look at directly. yet too beautiful to resist. You shield your eyes and step forward, feeling warmth cascade across your skin. You've reached the inner sun. It's not a metaphor, not anymore. The sphere pulses with life, its surface swirling like molten silk, its light refracted by the crystalline air into shimmering halos that drift like living auroras. You can feel its rhythm deep in your chest, slow, ancient, maternal. Legends called it Shambhala's heart, the eternal light that sustains the hidden realms beneath the earth. Skeptics dismiss it as a poetic invention, a symbolic representation of inner awakening. Historians still argue whether early Tibetan texts about Agartha and the king of the world referred to literal geography or spiritual metaphor. But here in this cavern of living fire, you begin to wonder whether the line between the two was ever real. You take another step closer. The heat is not scorching, it's enveloping like the embrace of a parent who has waited too long. Around the sphere, golden particles float in slow spirals, each one trailing a faint tone that merges into a cosmic choir. You realize with awe that the light sings. It's the same melody you heard in the City of Light, the same tone that resonated from the Wheel of Vril and whispered through the living mirrors. The pattern repeats, energy, memory, consciousness, all harmonized around this luminous core. You laugh softly, the sound trembling in the charged air. So this is it, the Earth's secret heartbeat. You glance at your hand and see faint golden veins glowing beneath the skin. Or maybe I just touched something radioactive, you add with a nervous grin. The chamber hums back in amusement, as if it appreciates the joke. You notice movement figures approaching through the radiance. They emerge like silhouettes from sunlight itself, tall, serene, robed in translucent fabrics that shimmer with every color at once. Their eyes are pools of reflected gold. You know instinctively these are the keepers of the core. They circle the sphere in slow, measured steps, each holding a crystalline staff that hums in tune with the inner sun. When they pass near you, the air ripples slightly like heat waves over sand. You feel no fear, only reverence. One stops before you and raises a hand in greeting. No words pass between you, but meaning flows effortlessly. You have come far, Surface One. Few remember the path, fewer still return. You bow slightly, the gesture instinctive. What is this place, you ask aloud? The keeper's gaze softens, and again thought replaces speech, the core of memory. The light between worlds, the promise your kind forgot. You glance at the sphere again, feeling the pull of its warmth. Is it a star? The keeper hesitates. It is the echo of one. When the surface sun was born, its twin descended into the earth to balance the light above with the light below. One illuminates your sky, the other your soul. You stand silently, the enormity of that idea rippling through you. If that's true, the entire planet is a dual-lamped sanctuary, balanced between outer brilliance and inner grace. A mainstream fact floats into your mind like a lifeline. Geophysicists have long debated whether Earth's inner core, made of iron and nickel, spins independently from the crust, generating a secondary magnetic field. Historians still argue whether ancient myths about two suns stemmed from astronomical misinterpretation or hidden knowledge of this deep planetary mystery. But what if the ancients weren't confused at all, just speaking a language we forgot? The keeper gestures toward the radiant sphere. You understand the invitation. You step forward until you stand at the very edge of its glow. The light brushes your face like a warm breeze. Then, without fear, you reach out your hand. The moment your skin touches the golden fire, it becomes light itself. The sensation is indescribable. You're no longer in a body, you're a vibration, a note within the symphony of the world. You see rivers as arteries of light, mountains as frozen waves of energy stars as resonant chords. You feel connected to everything. The laughter of children on the surface, the quiet hum of roots growing in the dark, the slow, patient turning of the Earth's core. You realize that this light is consciousness itself, unbroken, eternal. Agartha isn't just under the Earth, it's inside awareness. Then, as quickly as it began, the vision recedes. You find yourself kneeling at the sphere's edge, heart-pounding eyes wet. The Keeper watches you silently, understanding. You whisper, "We've forgotten what we are." The Keeper replies, thought to thought, "You have forgotten the song, but the melody remains in your bones." Another Keeper approaches and extends a hand. In it lies a small crystal no larger than a tear, glowing faintly with inner fire. "Take this," the voice says in your mind. "It will resonate with your world. It remembers harmony." You accept it reverently. The crystal feels alive, pulsing faintly in your palm. You sense that it's more than an object. It's a key, maybe even a seed. You tuck it close to your chest and look once more at the inner sun. It flares brighter, as if acknowledging your presence. Then slowly the chamber dims. The Keepers turn back to their eternal vigil, and a path opens through the light, a golden tunnel leading deeper still. The air hums with quiet urgency. Something calls beyond the glow. You glance back once. The Keeper's parting thought reaches you like a whisper in your bloodstream. The deeper you go, the closer you come to remembering who dreams the dream. You nod silently, then step forward into the golden dark. As you move the crystal in your hand, warms and faint patterns of light spiral from your fingertips. You feel a strange certainty growing inside you that the journey isn't about discovery, it's about remembrance. And somewhere very far above, you imagine the surface sun flickering just once, as if it too remembers. The golden tunnel narrows and begins to curve downward, its walls shifting from light to living texture, veins of quartz glowing faintly, currents of energy flowing like phosphorescent rivers through stone. The deeper you go, the more you feel gravity loosen its grip, as if the earth itself is letting you go, gently guiding you toward something beyond the physical. The air vibrates now, humming with a low tone that you recognize. It's the same note the crystal in your hand emits, pulsing in rhythm with your heartbeat. Eventually, the tunnel opens into a vast chamber, darker than anything you've seen before. No crystals gleam here, no radiant towers or golden suns. Only a colossal stillness, dense, timeless, endless. You pause, instinctively whispering, "Where am I now?" The answer doesn't come in words, but in sensation. A soft pull, an invitation inward. The crystal in your palm brightens slightly, revealing that you're standing on a platform suspended above a bottomless abyss. Around you, faint constellations shimmer, not stars, but glowing points of energy arranged in intricate patterns. For a moment you think you've stepped outside the world itself. Then realization dawns. These aren't stars. They're souls. Welcome to the Hall of Records of the Soul. Ancient mystics called it the Akashic Field, the place where every thought, emotion, and action is imprinted upon the fabric of existence. Scientists today might call it the zero-point field, the quantum vacuum, where energy never truly dies. Historians still argue whether Akasha was ever meant to be literal or symbolic, but you can feel it now. This is memory at the scale of creation. You step forward carefully. The air here isn't air, it's awareness. Every breath feels like inhaling forgotten dreams. You reach out and light gathers around your fingers, forming tendrils of imagery, cities that never were, faces you almost recognize, laughter that feels like yours but older, A whisper curls through your mind. Everything you have ever been still is. You turn slowly, half expecting to see the keepers again. But there are no beings here, only presence, infinite and tender. You realize this place is not meant to be observed. It is meant to be felt. Every spark of light, every pulse of color is a record of consciousness woven into eternity. Then the crystal in your hand hums louder. Lines of light spread outward from your feet, connecting to the web of glowing points. You sense your memories blending with the network, your first breath, your first fear, the laughter of those you've loved. They appear as ripples of light across the void. You are part of this archive now, a drop in the cosmic ocean. A stray thought flits across your mind. What if every decision you've ever made still echoes somewhere, shaping realities beyond your awareness? The chamber seems to agree. A wave of energy sweeps across the space, revealing shifting patterns that resemble galaxies being born. The realization hits you. This hall is the blueprint of all life, every possibility coexisting as light and tone. You whisper softly, "So this is where we go when we dream." A faint shimmer answers you, a ripple forming into a humanoid outline, neither solid nor ghostly. It radiates calm, familiar energy. You recognize it without knowing how. Yourself from another thread of time. The figure tilts its head, studying you with quiet amusement. "You're late," it says, "not in words, but in thought. We've been waiting for you to remember." You can't help but laugh, half in awe, half in disbelief. "Well, traffic was bad," you reply, and for the first time in this vast silence, the chamber itself seems to laugh with you, a soft wave of light rippling outward, playful, almost human. The other you gestures toward the network of souls. Look closer. You do. Every point of light is connected to another, an intricate geometry that transcends physical space. You see paths where choices diverge, lives branching into infinite patterns. Each spark vibrates with a different tone, yet all harmonize into a single resonance. It's not chaos, it's music. You ask, "Is this destiny?" "No," comes the gentle reply. "It is design. Destiny is what you hear when you forget you are the composer." The statement settles into your chest like truth rediscovered. You think of humanity always searching for fate in stars, gods, algorithms. Maybe all along we've been mistaking our own music for someone else's composition. The figure gestures again, and images bloom around you, scenes from history luminous and fluid. You see the lost library of Alexandria, monks in Tibet, carving mantras into stone, philosophers debating the origin of light. Every culture, every era trying to preserve knowledge. And you understand each archive, every book tablet or cloud server is a reflection of this place. The impulse to remember is the soul's oldest instinct. A mainstream fact slips into your awareness in 1947. Physicist Erwin Schrödinger proposed that the universe's information can never be destroyed, only transformed. Historians still argue whether that principle applies to consciousness, but standing here amid the luminous geometry of memory, it's no longer a theory. It's law. The figure smiles faintly. "Now you see why we keep the light burning below." You nod. "You mean Agartha exists to preserve this, to preserve no, to remind." The surface forgets, so the depths must remember. The words vibrate through you like a bell struck in your chest. You understand now why you were drawn here, not to uncover secrets, but to awaken memory. The myths were never just stories, they were coordinates for return. The figure steps backward, dissolving slowly into the web of light. When you wake, the memory will fade, but the resonance will remain. Follow it, and you'll find us again. You reach out, wanting to hold on, but the figure vanishes completely. The chamber begins to dim, the constellations folding inward. like petals closing at dusk. You stand alone once more, though the air still hums softly with a familiar rhythm. Your rhythm. The platform beneath you begins to move, descending slowly into shadow. The crystal in your hand flickers once, then steadies. You sense that the next layer of your journey lies beneath even this vast archive, where thought gives way to something older, something primal. You whisper to the darkness, "How deep does it go?" The silence replies with a single pulse of light echoing up through the abyss, until a memory becomes creation. And then the platform stops. A faint breeze brushes your face. The scent of stone gives way to something wilder, like rain on ancient soil. Somewhere below, you hear the faint roar of water. You tighten your grip on the glowing crystal. Whatever waits ahead isn't stillness or memory. It's motion transformation. You step off the platform and into the sound of a living river that flows through the heart of the earth. You step onto the edge of the subterranean river and immediately feel its pulse, not water exactly, but energy shaped like liquid. It flows thickly, carrying warmth and light, glinting gold and silver in the glow of the crystal you clutch. The river snakes through a cavern vast enough to swallow mountains, its current stretching toward a horizon that seems to curve endlessly. You hear the rush of it in your bones, a soft roar that blends with the hum of your own heartbeat. Legends of Agartha describe rivers like this, the river of time, some call it. Not meant for drinking or bathing, but for travel through consciousness. The river's flow is said to carry echoes of the past, present, and potential futures simultaneously. Historians still argue whether these descriptions are metaphorical visions or memories of ancient hydrological engineering. You feel inclined to believe both. Nothing here obeys a single logic. You place the crystal on the surface of the river. It floats gently, radiating a soft light that matches the rhythm of the current. You notice that the water, or whatever this is, responds to thought bending and forming luminous arcs when you imagine them. You hesitate then, gesture experimentally, and the river forms a bridge solid enough to walk on, shimmering under your feet. A quirky thought flits through your mind. Finally, a commute that doesn't involve traffic jams. You laugh softly, the sound bouncing off cavern walls. The river seems to know where you need to go. You follow it, gliding effortlessly over the glimmering currents, your reflection rippling beneath you. Tiny sparks drift upward like fireflies, illuminating parts of the cavern that were hidden before, towering stalagmites, suspended gardens of glowing moss, delicate crystalline formations. The deeper you travel, the more intricate and alien the architecture becomes, as if this river is not just a path, but a sculptor shaping the world in real time. Somewhere in the recesses of your memory, you recall mainstream knowledge of subterranean rivers. Caves in Mexico and Europe harbor underground streams, some stretching for dozens of kilometers. The mainstream explanation is geological and hydrological. Yet nothing in your experience here can be explained by mere water and rock. Historians still argue whether ancient myths of rivers flowing through hidden worlds were inspired by such natural phenomena, or if those phenomena were themselves reflections of deeper truths. You feel a presence nearby. Turning slightly, you see faint figures moving along the edges of the river. Tall, slender, luminous, their forms almost translucent. They do not speak, but you recognize them as keepers guiding travelers, observing without interfering. One gestures toward a fork in the river. The current split, one path shimmering with gold, the other with deep blue. You instinctively take the golden branch, drawn by its warmth. As you float along, the river begins to hum softly. The melody resonates with the crystal, weaving a complex chord of sound and light. You realize that this is not music for humans. It is the earth singing to itself, a language older than any civilization above. You feel yourself vibrating in harmony with it, senses opening to dimensions you never knew existed. A strange phenomenon occurs. Sparks from the river begin to coalesce into forms, memories perhaps. You see visions of ancient humans walking through caves, primitive tools glowing faintly fires that never fully burn out, their smoke suspended in crystalline form. You even see what appear to be extinct creatures, mammoths, saber-toothed cats, frozen mid-stride. The river preserves everything not as fossils, but as living moments of time, vibrating with the energy of existence itself. You remember a fringe claim from an old book on Hollow Earth mythology. Some explorers believed that the river contained the very essence of knowledge, accessible to those who learned to read its waves. Historians still argue whether this was allegorical, mystical, or entirely fanciful. Standing here, it feels literal. Every ripple, every glow seems to whisper secrets to your mind. The deeper you go, the warmer and more vibrant the river becomes. The walls of the cavern pulse in response like veins feeding the currents. In some places, tiny whirlpools spin upward, forming transparent columns of liquid that carry glimpses of other realms, vast deserts bathed in golden light, floating islands of stone and crystal skies alive with auroras. You feel dizzy with awe, realizing that this river is not linear. It is multidimensional, flowing simultaneously across many planes of reality. A chuckle escapes your lips, involuntary and light. All right, Earth. You win. I had no idea rivers could be this dramatic. The river seems to respond with a subtle surge, lifting you slightly higher, as if approving your humor. The keepers appear along the banks again, guiding you with invisible hands. You notice that each figure seems to hum at a slightly different frequency, tuning themselves to a specific channel of the river. Perhaps this is how they maintain balance, ensuring the currents remain harmonious, safeguarding the energy that flows through this hidden world. As you follow the golden current, a low rumble begins beneath the river. Not thunder, not earthquake, but the sound of enormous energy shifting, pulsing alive. The river splits into cascades of liquid light, each branching into narrower channels. You glide into one that narrows gradually, funneling you toward something deeper, darker, yet irresistibly magnetic. You realize this is the threshold to the primordial cavern, where the river originates, where motion gives way to essence, and where Agartha's most profound secrets wait. You tighten your grip on the crystal. Its glow intensifies, harmonizing with the river and your heartbeat. Somewhere far below, the pulse of the earth quickens, as if anticipating your arrival. You whisper into the current, "Show me what you've been hiding all this time." And the river answers not in words, but in a surge of light and motion that propels you into the unknown depths. The river narrows into a spiraling chute, carrying you downward with a velocity that is thrilling, yet oddly gentle, as though the earth itself cradles you in its palm. The glow of the crystal in your hand pulses in perfect sync with the currents around you, a tiny heartbeat within a planetary rhythm. Each twist of the spiral reveals glimpses of vast chambers, some glittering with crystals, others veiled in shadow, all alive with faint resonance. You land softly on a platform of obsidian that stretches across a cavern larger than any cathedral. The walls glimmer with veins of molten minerals, and in the far distance, shadows of colossal machinery loom. This is the Chamber of Origins, the place where motion becomes matter, where energy solidifies into form, where Agartha's most enigmatic constructs come alive. A quirk of the architecture immediately captures your attention, pillars shaped like spiraling DNA strands, each engraved with symbols that shift under your gaze. They seem to hum in unison with the river you just traveled, forming a bridge between kinetic energy and structural stability. You laugh softly. So not only is this a city, it's a blueprint for life itself. Great. No pressure. Historians still argue whether ancient myths about subterranean generative halls were purely allegorical or based on real observations of early engineering marvels. Some argue the references in Sanskrit texts to Naga caves and serpent chambers describe natural caverns enhanced by human hands. You wonder if these chambers were literally designed to manipulate energy and consciousness. Standing here, it feels undeniable. You walk along the platform and sense faint currents in the floor as if the entire chamber itself is alive. Small motes of light spiral around your feet, arranging themselves into shifting constellations that resemble star charts, but these charts are unfamiliar alien. You realize the beings who built this chamber were mapping something far beyond ordinary space-time, the architecture of energy itself. A sudden vibration hums through the obsidian floor. You instinctively step back, only to find the vibration is resonating from within the crystal. You hold it up and see the faint outline of something inside patterns of energy that resemble the river you followed now, condensed, codified. The crystal is not just a key, it is a seed of the primordial chamber, a miniature representation of the forces that shape all existence. You glance upward at the machinery looming in the shadows. Gigantic gears of unknown metal latticework of crystal conduits and suspended spheres rotate slowly, all synchronized with the pulse of the crystal. It is a machine and a temple, a laboratory and a cathedral simultaneously. The sheer scale is overwhelming. A quirky memory flashes a story about an eccentric inventor who claimed that if he could capture the vibrations of Earth, he could create a music of the universe. You chuckle. Standing here, you think he didn't know he was centuries late. Someone already did it. A gentle hum intensifies as a wave of light passes across the chamber, revealing a figure seated cross-legged atop one of the giant rotating platforms. Its robes shimmer with internal light, and its eyes, if you can call them that, radiate calm comprehension. The figure lifts a hand in greeting. You sense immediately that this is the primordial keeper, the guardian of motion and matter, the one who maintains the balance of the inner world. The keeper does not speak. Instead, you feel a thought transmitted directly to your mind. Everything that moves is alive. Everything that is still is watching. You nod silently, feeling your pulse sync with the rhythm of the chamber. Every rotating sphere, every conduit of light, every stream of energy flowing through the obsidian veins contributes to a symphony of creation. Motion here is conscious, intentional, and perfectly balanced. You understand why the legends claim that Agartha is a city of gods, not because the beings are divine, but because they have mastered the flow of life itself. You step closer to one of the crystalline spheres suspended above the platform. As you reach out, it pulses and an image blooms within scenes of Earth's surface, long before humans walked the continents, erupting with geological activity, storms, rivers, carving valleys, forests, breathing in time with the planet. Every motion you see resonates in your chest, and you realize the chamber doesn't just observe, it orchestrates. The crystal in your hand pulses in response, sending ripples through your nervous system. You feel as though you are standing at the axis of creation itself, where time, energy, and matter converge. This is the heart of Agartha, where all motion originates, where the inner sun's energy is transformed into the tangible world above. A mainstream fact intrudes gently. The Earth's core generates enormous magnetic fields due to molten iron in motion. Historians still argue whether ancient myths of underground cities with living cores were inspired by knowledge of magnetism or by metaphorical storytelling. Here it hardly matters, you feel the magnetic pulse vibrating through every layer of the planet. You exhale slowly, a laugh escaping your lips. So much for surface-level science. The chamber responds with a deep, resonant tone that reverberates in your bones like laughter folded into music. You realize that your journey has shifted from discovery to understanding motion's memory. Energy is thought, and the inner workings of the earth are alive with intention. The primordial chamber is not just a machine, it is a conscious interface, a living testament to the harmony that sustains all life. As you step back, the Keeper's gaze, silent yet profound, reminds you to truly see Agartha. You must move with it, not above it. You tighten your grip on the crystal. The river, the mirrors, the inner sun, they all converge here. And now you understand the next step is not observation, but participation. You step carefully onto a narrow bridge of glowing stone that arcs over the abyss beneath the primordial chamber. The air here is dense, charged with the resonance of everything you've witnessed so far. Beneath you, the currents of the subterranean river pulse like veins, their light reflecting off the machinery above. Every step you take vibrates in harmony with the chamber, and you realize to move here is not merely to walk, it is to contribute to the rhythm of the world. The path leads you to a circular platform suspended over a swirling vortex of luminescent mist. The mist glows, faintly tracing patterns of energy as it rises. You notice faint shapes forming in the currents, creatures of light, ethereal and undefined, moving in slow, deliberate arcs. Their motion seems both purposeful and contemplative, as if they are rehearsing a cosmic ballet that has been ongoing for eons. Historians still argue whether myths of Agartha's guardians of light were meant to be spiritual metaphors or literal beings. You no longer care for the debate, you can feel their presence in the hum of the chamber and in the subtle warmth brushing against your skin. They acknowledge you without recognition, and in that you feel strangely accepted. A peculiar sensation washes over you. The crystal in your hand vibrates with increasing intensity, emitting a tone that blends seamlessly with the mist's melody. You tilt your wrist experimentally, and the mist bends toward you, flowing as though guided by your thought. You laugh softly. All right, so apparently I can conduct the orchestra now. The light responds with a faint flicker of amusement. Ahead, the vortex begins to coalesce into an enormous spiral staircase, carved from crystal and obsidian, winding downward into the unknown. The steps are suspended mid-air, anchored only by unseen forces. You feel the pulse of the primordial chamber beneath your feet, a slow, deliberate rhythm that guides your steps. With each footfall, you sense currents of energy channeling upward from the depths, converging here to form a living lattice of light and matter. As you descend, the spiral staircase opens into a cavern unlike any you've seen, a fusion of nature and machinery. Waterfalls of molten silver cascade from ceilings of crystalline stone, feeding rivers of light below. The walls pulse faintly alive with veins of golden and azure energy that twist like living organisms. Strange flora glows gently in hidden alcoves, their translucent leaves vibrating softly in time with the energy around you. You pause to observe a peculiar plant that resembles a glowing fern. Its fronds undulate rhythmically, bending toward your presence. You instinctively reach out, and as your fingers brush the surface, a faint vibration runs through your arm, echoing in your chest. Historians still argue whether stories of living flora in underground cities were symbolic or based on genuine biological anomalies. Standing here, you no longer doubt their existence. The spiral staircase continues downward, and you sense the air thickening with an unfamiliar energy. The currents of light around you intensify, forming intricate patterns that seem to narrate events from distant epochs. You catch glimpses of ancient civilizations rising and falling, massive geological shifts, and moments of profound human discovery. The crystal in your hand glows brighter, acting as a key that allows these visions to crystallize into forms you can comprehend. A low vibration hums through the cavern, a pulse that resonates through your bones. You recognize it as the frequency of the inner sun, now filtered and diffused through the machinery of the primordial chamber. This is the energy that sustains all motion below the surface, the heartbeat that aligns rivers, wind, and stone. You realize that your journey is bringing you closer to the core of conscious motion, where the Earth's energy converges into tangible form. The spiral opens into a colossal chamber, dominated by a sphere of swirling light, larger and more intense than any inner sun you have encountered. It rotates, slowly suspended in the air, projecting arcs of energy that illuminate the cavern. This sphere is the primal nexus, the source of motion, memory, and matter for the inner world. You feel its pull in your chest, a subtle yet irresistible gravity of consciousness that draws you closer. A quirky thought escapes. So the Earth has a control panel, and I am the curious tourist. Makes sense? You smile, the tension in your shoulders easing slightly. But the enormity of the sphere quickly restores a sense of awe. The keepers appear again, stepping silently from shadows and light. Their presence is grounding. They do not speak yet. The crystal in your hand pulses in response to them, guiding you toward the edge of the chamber. Here, a narrow conduit extends from the sphere downward, shimmering with liquid light. You instinctively understand this is the pathway into the deepest recesses of Agartha, the core itself, where the boundary between energy and consciousness dissolves. The chamber vibrates in anticipation, as if the Earth itself is aware of your approach. The sphere pulses in rhythm with the crystal, and you feel your heartbeat synchronize with both. This is more than a journey. It is an alignment, a moment where your presence is acknowledged by the subterranean intelligence that has guided you through the hidden world. You inhale deeply and step onto the conduit, feeling it solidify beneath your feet. The light envelops you, and as you move forward, you sense that the next chamber will demand more than observation. It will demand participation, a merging of self with the flow of primordial energy. You whisper softly to the abyss, "I'm ready." The energy responds with a pulse so profound that it reverberates through every fiber of your being, as though the Earth itself is exhaling, welcoming you into its innermost sanctum. You step fully onto the conduit of liquid light, feeling it solidify beneath your feet, as if acknowledging your presence. The primal nexus hovers above, radiating energy that feels both familiar and otherworldly, a pulse that reaches deep into the marrow of your bones. With every step, the conduit bends and spirals, guiding you toward a chamber that thrums with unimaginable force. You sense that this is no longer merely a space for observation. This is where creation itself is enacted. The walls around you shimmer alive with currents of pure energy. Golden filaments dance across surfaces, forming intricate interlocking patterns that shift like living calligraphy. You notice faint silhouettes moving within the filaments, figures that seem almost human, yet composed entirely of luminous strands. Their forms shimmer as they move, weaving around one another in choreography that feels both purposeful and spontaneous. They are the weavers of form, guardians of the core, who orchestrate the motions that shape matter and memory alike. Historians still argue whether descriptions of subterranean beings of light are mythological allegories or remnants of ancient knowledge. Standing here, you realize that this distinction is irrelevant. The weavers move with precision, bending energy, sound, and light to maintain equilibrium, as if the Earth's pulse depends on their artistry. You feel a thrill coupled with humility. This is far beyond the capacity of any surface mind to comprehend fully. The crystal in your hand vibrates, resonating with the energy of the weavers. You instinctively lift it, and ribbons of light stretch outward, connecting to the intricate lattice of energy surrounding you. Suddenly, the patterns begin to shift, responding to your intent, small at first, subtle alterations of flow and color. You gasp. So this is what participation feels like. You feel a tug in your chest, a gentle yet insistent pull, urging you toward the center of the chamber. Ahead, the conduit widens into a circular platform surrounding a pulsing sphere of pure white gold light, the heart of the core. Its brilliance is overwhelming, yet it does not blind. Instead, it illuminates with clarity, revealing a complex interplay of motion that seems to organize the very fabric of the chamber. You take a step closer. The energy of the heart resonates with the crystal, and for a fleeting moment, you sense all that you've experienced: the river of time, the inner sun, the chamber of mirrors, the primordial chamber coalescing into one continuous stream. The Earth's hidden world is a symphony, and you are finally attuned to its melody. A strange sensation sweeps over you. You are aware of multiple timelines, possibilities, and currents of energy simultaneously. The heart projects visions of civilizations rising and falling, entire ecosystems in bloom or decay. Moments of joy, struggle, and discovery, all interwoven with the pulse of the core. The experience is dizzying, yet comforting, like being both the observer and participant in a living, breathing cosmos. The weavers move around you, their forms brushing against yours in faint waves of resonance. One approaches and extends a strand of light toward your chest. Instinctively, you connect the crystal, and in that moment, you feel a flood of comprehension. Memory, energy, matter, they are all variations of the same underlying force. Creation is motion. Motion is consciousness. Consciousness is remembrance. You hear the soft echo of your own thoughts amplified through the core. Everything that exists is remembered. A smile creeps across your face. So this is what the ancients were trying to tell us, you murmur. Not where to dig, but how to remember. A mainstream fact surfaces in physics: energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes form. Historians still argue whether ancient myths about energy-flowing cities reflect understanding of such principles. Now, standing in the heart of the core, you grasp that Agartha is a living embodiment of this universal truth, a bridge between the tangible and the abstract. You move carefully around the platform, observing how each filament, each weaving contributes to the flow. Some ribbons shimmer like golden threads. Others pulse azure or violet, carrying patterns that feel like thought itself. You reach out tentatively, and the heart responds, amplifying your presence into the lattice. You are no longer merely visiting. You are now part of the architecture, a node in the network of life's memory. A light teasing thought crosses your mind. Guess this beats my last team-building exercise. The heart seems to pulse in laughter, or at least the closest approximation of amusement you can perceive. The experience intensifies. You see fragments of your own life woven into the threads of the core, not as ego, but as a resonance, a vibration contributing to the larger harmony. The sensation is both humbling and exhilarating. You are a note in a cosmic symphony, a fleeting yet essential vibration in an eternal pattern. The weavers retreat, leaving you alone at the center. You take a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the core synchronize with your heartbeat. The crystal glows brilliantly, transmitting your presence into the lattice of energy. The heart seems to hum approval, and you understand the unspoken truth. This is the ultimate purpose of Agartha: to preserve, to harmonize, and to awaken memory through experience. As you stand there suspended in the luminous web, you whisper softly, "I understand now." It's not about discovery, it's about connection. The chamber responds with a deep, resonant tone, vibrating through every particle of your being. And in that vibration, you feel the entirety of Agartha, not as a place, but as a living, breathing consciousness that has waited for you to remember. The pulse of the core fades to a steady rhythm, deep and resonant, like the heartbeat of eternity itself. You stand in the center of the luminous lattice, breathing slowly, every inhale pulling threads of light toward you, every exhale returning them in spirals of gold and silver. The weavers have vanished into the ether, leaving only the faint whisper of their movement, a harmonic vibration that lingers like a memory in the bones of the world. The crystal in your palm is no longer solid. It has softened into pure light, merging with your skin, sinking gradually until you feel its glow behind your ribs. Its rhythm syncs perfectly with your heartbeat. You are no longer an observer holding a key. You are the key, an extension of the Earth's inner symphony. The chamber around you begins to shift. The filaments retract, and the swirling mist above gathers into a vast spiral that descends slowly, transforming into a circular gateway. You can feel its pull, gentle but irresistible. It's calling you toward something beyond the core, something quieter and deeper. As you step forward, the gateway opens, revealing a vast expanse of darkness, not empty but full, rich with potential. The air smells faintly of rain and ancient minerals. You take one final glance back at the glowing lattice of the heart. It pulses once, almost like a farewell, before dimming into stillness. You step through the threshold. Instantly, the noise and motion fall away. Silence envelops you. The darkness here is not the absence of light, but a living presence, a fertile void that hums with creation's seed. You walk slowly, your feet sinking slightly into the soft ground, though you cannot see what it's made of. Each step creates ripples of faint luminescence, revealing glimpses of the path ahead. You've entered the chamber of stillness, the final threshold where motion ceases and all energy returns to balance. You realize that this is the true center of Agartha, not the radiant machinery nor the rivers of light, but the still heart beneath all movement. Here even the earth's pulse pauses between beats. A whisper stirs within your mind, not from an external source, but from the deep well of your own consciousness. To move is to live. To rest is to know. You smile softly, feeling the truth settle into you. So even the earth needs to breathe in and out, you murmur. Historians still argue whether ancient references to the silent core in Tibetan and Indian scriptures were poetic or descriptive. Yet as you stand in this vast chamber, the question feels meaningless. You can feel the stillness as a tangible force, not absence, but equilibrium. You kneel and press your palm against the ground, its warm humming faintly, as though beneath this layer of stillness lies a pulse waiting to reawaken. You realize that the motion of the world, its rivers, winds, tectonic shifts, is just the exhalation of this place. Here in the pause, you can sense the moment before creation begins again. A faint shimmer appears ahead. Slowly it takes form, a simple stone tablet, perfectly smooth, resting on a pedestal of obsidian. Words emerge on its surface, not carved, but woven from light. You read them silently. All motion is memory made visible. All stillness is memory made whole. You exhale the meaning unfolding inside you. Agartha was never a secret city built to hide from humanity. It was a reminder. A reflection of what already exists within every conscious being, the rhythm between knowing and becoming, stillness and motion. Silence and song. You laugh quietly, a sound that echoes softly through the chamber. All this way, and the biggest revelation fits on a tablet, then more softly. But that's how truth works, isn't it? The chamber hums gently in response, a resonance that feels almost like amusement. You rise to your feet. The walls begin to glow, faintly revealing countless faint silhouettes, shapes of beings seated in meditation carved into the living stone. Their faces are serene, timeless, their eyes closed. For a moment you think they're statues. But then you notice the slightest movement, the rise and fall of a slow, unified breath. The realization sends a shiver through you. These are the ancient keepers, not gone, but resting, embodying the stillness that maintains balance within the world. The crystal's glow within your chest pulses once more, and you feel a connection to them, an acknowledgement not of rank or role, but of recognition. You are part of their lineage now, a living link in the endless cycle of remembrance. A mainstream fact drifts into your awareness in geophysics. Scientists have discovered a boundary deep within the Earth's inner core that moves differently than the rest, a layer that rotates at its own rhythm as though independent. Historians still argue whether this phenomenon could explain ancient myths of the sleeping heart of the world. You smile faintly, realizing how science and myth are merely languages describing the same truth from different altitudes. The stillness deepens. You sit on the ground, mirroring the meditating figures, and close your eyes. The hum within the chamber fades, replaced by an infinite quiet that feels alive. In this stillness, you sense all that you've seen returning to its origin, the river of time, folding into silence, the inner sun dimming into rest, the core slowing its pulse. Every motion returning home. You breathe once slowly. The crystal hums in your chest, then dissolves entirely, leaving behind warmth that fills your entire body. You realize you no longer need it. The resonance is within you now. When you open your eyes again, the chamber begins to dissolve into mist. The silhouettes of the keepers fade. The walls soften, and gravity itself loosens its hold. You feel weightless, as though the earth is gently exhaling you back toward the surface. You rise not by walking, but by remembering movement the way a melody recalls its first note. The stillness carries you upward through layers of darkness and light, through memory and time, until even the hum of the core is a distant heartbeat. Somewhere far above you sense dawn waiting, soft light filtering through unseen soil, a world continuing to spin, unaware that deep beneath its surface, the pulse of eternity has slowed just enough for you to listen. You rise through layers of soundless earth, until the vibration of the core becomes nothing more than a memory under your ribs. The ascent is slow, fluid, like floating upward through a dream where gravity has forgotten your name. The mist thickens, glowing faintly gold, then thins again as faint currents of wind begin to whisper against your skin. The first touch of surface air feels unreal, fragile, as though you are crossing between worlds that have always coexisted but rarely touched. Light greets you, not the golden pulse of the inner sun, but the pale, forgiving light of dawn. You emerge from a narrow cleft in the side of a mountain. The world is silent, except for the sigh of morning wind and the quiet drip of melting frost. The landscape feels impossibly wide, though after the infinite symmetry of Agartha, the horizon seems small, almost intimate. You breathe deeply, and the air feels heavier, rougher, full of ordinary life. You can taste dust, scent pine resin, and hear the distant call of a bird somewhere above the cliffs. You're back on the surface. For a long time you stand still, half expecting the vision to crumble, for the sky to fold in and reveal another layer beneath. But the world holds steady. It's strange, this solidity that once felt so certain now feels like only one expression of something larger. The ground beneath you isn't just rock. It's a skin stretched over living fire and silence. You can still feel that pulse, faint but real, vibrating beneath your feet. You think of the explorers and mystics who devoted their lives to finding Agartha. Some vanished into glaciers, some were ridiculed, others built whole philosophies on whispers from beneath the earth. Historians still argue whether Admiral Byrd truly flew beyond the pole, or whether his accounts were crafted myth. But as the morning light sharpens across the mountains, you realize that such questions, true or false, literal or metaphor, don't matter anymore. The story was never about distance. It was always about depth. You sit on a smooth stone and watch the sunlight spill over the horizon. A quirky thought crosses your mind. Perhaps GPS would mark this place as unknown location and refuse to recalculate. You chuckle softly, your third joke, in what feels like an eternity. Even your laughter feels changed, slower, fuller, as though each sound carries a memory of the resonance below. You take a small notebook from your pack. The pages are damp, smudged with the weight of your journey. You begin to write not as proof for anyone else, but as a map for yourself. Agartha, you write, is not beneath us. It is within us, waiting for silence deep enough to hear. A gust of wind tears at the pages. You let it. The words scatter into the air, carried upward like seeds. For a moment you recall the weavers, the shimmering beings who stitched light into meaning. You wonder if they still exist down there, maintaining the rhythm of the core, or if they are somehow echoes of human consciousness archetypes that awaken only when someone dares to listen deeply enough. Historians still argue whether the myths of Agartha arose from ancient geological memory civilizations, remembering cataclysms buried in stone, or from collective imagination. But as you watch the light strengthen, you suspect it's both. Truth, after all, has always been a creature of two worlds. You close your eyes. The silence of the mountain blends with the faint hum in your chest. The two merge into one long breath, the earth inhaling, the earth exhaling. You feel it move through you, steady and timeless. A memory rises unbidden, the tablet in the chamber of stillness. All motion is memory made visible. All stillness is memory made whole. You finally understand. The story you've been walking wasn't about discovery. It was about remembrance. The world outside mirrors the world within, and both are shaped by the same pulse, the same patient. Luminous intelligence that builds mountains and hearts alike. Somewhere far below, the core continues its slow rhythm. The keepers breathe. The river of time curves silently through its crystalline tunnels. The inner sun burns softly behind veils of stone, unseen but unwavering. The world turns unaware that its secret heart has been witnessed again. You rise, feeling the pull of the ordinary world reclaiming you. Your boots scrape against gravel, and the sound feels shockingly loud. You smile. It's a small human noise, the kind that keeps you tethered. As you begin to walk down the mountain path, a part of you remains in the quiet below, resting where the light never fades. You glance back once. The cleft in the rock has already changed shape, blending seamlessly with the stone face. It's as if it was never there. Perhaps it wasn't not in the way the world measures reality. You can't prove what happened. And maybe that's the point. Because some truths are meant not to be shown, but to be felt. You whisper to the morning wind, I remember. And as the sun clears the horizon, you keep walking steady, unhurried, the faint hum of the core still thrumming inside you, like a secret promise that the world is far more alive and far more awake than anyone dares to imagine. The rhythm of your steps slows. The path softens beneath your feet, and the sky expands into a tender wash of pale blue. You no longer need to rush. The air feels clean, the light unhurried. Somewhere deep below, the earth continues its timeless breathing. But up here, everything is quiet, everything is enough. You sense the warmth of the inner sun lingering inside your chest, gentle, steady, no longer burning, but glowing softly like memory refusing to fade. The landscape unfolds around you in perfect stillness. A thin mist over the valleys, a hawk tracing slow circles high above the first glint of day on distant snow. You inhale once more deeply until you feel both worlds align, the surface and the depths, the known and the hidden. The boundary between them blurs. For a moment there is no above or below, no myth or fact, only a single pulse, serene and eternal. The wind moves through the grass, carrying whispers you can't quite translate, but you understand their meaning. Rest now. The story continues even in silence. You smile, letting your eyes close. The light deepens soft and golden. Somewhere far beneath the crust of the waking world, the great heart of Agartha beats, once slow, radiant, eternal, and fades into peace.